People, the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My soaps look at PurpleButterfly-soaps.myshopify.com. My blog is located at PurpleButterfly-People.blogspot.com. And I'm in the home stretch of the lace front wig. And I thought I'd show you my progress and take you with me on an update. And there's a snag. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I need to anchor that. Give me 1 second. That way it doesn't snag while I'm working on this section like you just seen. Yeah. And I know someone's gonna ask, why am I wearing gloves? I find it's just easier because my nails are long, and sometimes, especially when I have acrylics and they start to grow out or need to fill in, these little shreds of hair snags in my nails, and that's annoying, and it can cause breakage on my nails because synthetic hair can have amazing tensile strength, and also it keeps the hair from getting dirty while I'm working with it, seeing how when you ventilate a wig by hand, you can be ventilating the same thing anywhere from 10 days to 3 months or however long it takes you. This wig has taken me just about a month. Of course, I don't, do it every day. I just do it whenever I feel like it. That's like, it took me 2 weeks to get to a certain point, and then in one day I did the entire right side of the wig. So, yeah, depends on my mood. Sometimes I go fast, sometimes I go slow. The other day I worked to the point where I got a cramp in my hand. So of course that stopped me from, continuing for a while, but yeah. Let me just show you what I got right on thinking about it. This is what I have so far. How you like that hairline? I even put my widow's peak in there. And then there's this side. This is the part I did this morning. So the only thing I have left to do is right here. I got that split into 4 pieces. So I'm going to work till I get to here, take a break, work this side, this side, this side, and I'll be finished. I have no delusions that this is going to be done in one day. I'm on a roll, but there's no way I'm going to finish it in one day because my hands are already cramping up a little bit. But this has been the only day that I had a little time, so I figure go for it, I've been watching my grandson all week, and I don't take this project over there because he's very active, he gets in everything, and I can't concentrate on it when I'm with him because, well, he's learned how to climb out of his baby bed, his playpen, and he is a ball of energy. Look back on several of the JC's corners, he never slows down, Every now and then when he's running around being about energy, you'll notice he's sleepy. And even when he's so sleepy that he could barely keep his eyes open, he'll still try to run around. So, yeah. And then he's curious, so you have to keep a constant eye on, make sure he doesn't get into stuff that he's not supposed to get into. So, yeah. That's going to be a split knot. Usually if I do a split knot, I do it in the front, like where the hairline is, because it gives a specific look. That one was by accident, but it's all good. There's still a knot, it'll still hold. So, yeah. These are all single knots, by the way. But this section of the wig is double spaced. Well, actually, more like triple spaces. I got 5 sections in here. Now, in the front of the wig, everything is single knot, single space, as in every hole has a knot in it. And also in the back here with the extra spacing, I have a few extra strands of knots. So that way, basically it just allows me to go quicker, because this is a part of the wig that nobody's going to see. Even though it's a full lace wig, if I part it right through the middle, it's not going to be real obvious that those are further apart than, you know, normal. Because this one, this part right here, that's also double single space, single knots from here to here. And the double spaces right here, here, and this whole section here. So that will allow me to work quicker and finish faster and have a completed project. And it also keeps it from being too bulky, because with synthetic hair, it's actually thicker than real hair. So basically, when I was putting the single knots in the front and single space, it's incredibly dense there, and it's incredibly dense in the back where the nape area is. So I figure, you know, space it further apart will release some of the bulk. I just didn't realize it allowed me to go so much faster. So I'm thinking the next week I do, I'm only going to single space the very front and maybe the very last 2 inches of the nape area, and then just do the rest this way in wider spaces. It'll reduce the bulk and it'll result in a faster finish. And no one's going to be able to tell looking, you know, directly at it, because, you know, like in the very front, I did that like a closure. Hold on, I'll just show you. Oh, and I finally found out what that clicking sound was that was driving me back. So apparently there's pipes directly behind my wall, and the maintenance people said that that's what that sound was I was hearing, is the pipes. Okay. I'll just unbraid it. maybe brush it out because, well, it's tangling as you can see. But this area right here, I literally put there like a frontal. So, yeah. And then this is single knots. Single knots. When you part it, it looks like a scalp. Because that's the beauty of a full-length wig. Now, if you come over here to this section, if you look real close, you can see how close those knots are. Okay, but if you look right here, you can see that they're further apart. See? So this took me much longer than this. And this is just as far as apart because it's double spaced too. So that entire section took me about 6 hours. Well, not even 6 hours. So yeah. Now, let me anchor this back out my way. So that way, it's not giving me grief while I work on the middle section. Yeah. There we go. And I'll probably braid that up a little bit later. And see, that's what I'm talking about. You see how bulky that is? That's just the nape. And then the rest of it is thinner sections because it's double spaced. But it's all good because I know how to take care of that. So that way, when it's time, I'm just going to heat treat it into a straight format. And that'll also make it easier to brush and comb too. Because right now it's, well, synthetic hair tends to tangle because basically it's all one length. And I do not have any thinning shears, because if I did, I would just go ahead and run them sections so that way it layers, and layers allow it to comb easier and brush easier. But basically, to alleviate that effect, I will be taking like a section, leave a section, grab a section, leave a section, and then lift those pieces up, and then trim random sections of it and basically layer it. That'll make it easier to comb, but also when you heat set it, you know, the heat will reduce some of the bulk of the synthetic because it'll shrink it slightly. So then you don't have to worry about the bulk of it all. So if I'm going to heat set it into a hairstyle, I'm not sure if it's going to be wavy or curly, but it's not going to be straight. I don't really do straight hair. Straight hair is easier to ventilate, but it's not the, I mean, like even if it's human hair, I'm not going to ventilate a straight hair wig and then take a curling iron or a flat iron and style it every day. Nope. I'm just going to steam process it into the hairstyle I want, so that way it stays in that style continuously. And I mean, this synthetic hair, you can actually straighten it and curl it and all that with heat, but there's no need to do that if I put it in the hairstyle I want permanently. I mean, that's how they do human hair wigs. When it's curly, if it's not a naturally curled wig, They heat process it into a natural looking curl pattern, and then you can straighten it, flat iron or whatever, and the moment you add water, it goes back to the curl pattern you had, because it's permanently set for that. But generally, when I do curly hair wigs, I try to get naturally curly hair, but that costs more. Right now, I'm trying to find a ash blonde or platinum blonde bulk hair, so that way I could ventilate it, and then dye it pink. Because I found out when I tried to bleach that hair that I had that I was going to make a wig out of, it only lightened up to a medium brown. And then when I tried to lighten it more, the hair started falling out. Now, since it's being ventilated, that's no big deal. You just harvest the hair with your draw card. But if it's falling away from the track, then that means that particular brand or that particular hair is not as strong as I thought it was, which means it might, it might not survive the ventilation process, which would just be a bummer. So I'm going to take the brown that it came out and put it with the two bundles of the natural brown hair, which is what we call black hair, except for it's not jet black. It's like a 1B 2. It's just basically a really dark brown, but it's unbleached, so that means it's stronger. So I figure just go ahead and make a wig out of it and put the bleach hair with it in different sections, so if it sheds, it's not going to shed completely out in a way that's detrimental to the wig. But yeah, that will be one that I either sell or get to my daughter, since she has naturally brown hair. But as you can tell, my hair is still pink and will always be pink. And every time I dye it, it gets even pinker, because the gray is proficient and the gray is getting more and more dense. So yeah, I mean, by this time next year, I might not even have to lighten my roots, because the gray will be there. So that way, all I have to do is add the raspberry twist. So yeah, but right now I still have dark roots in places. I still have the silver streak through the middle, so that's where it really shows up, really pink. And I'm getting some more gray on the sides. It basically, when I dye it, it looks like I have highlights, because some of the pink shows up lighter and some of it shows up darker. And people have asked me how I get that quote unquote ombre effect. It's like, it's not ombre, it's just the way my hair is, because half of it, well, about 40 to 50% of it is silver. So yeah, that's like this time when I dyed it, because I only lighten my roots or use a bleach like product, but it's not bleach, so it's called lightening instead of bleaching. But I only do that every 4th time I color my hair. So right now it looks like I got that balayage or ombre effect, because my roots are dark. But yeah, when it's time to lighten it, then it'll all be, raspberry twist. But I went on ahead and colored it because it had faded so badly that it was just not even, didn't want to go outside the house looking like, hey, what's going on with your hair? So I went ahead and dyed it. And my daughter goes, how did you do that? Your roots are, you know, like natural gradient and dark, and then the rest of your hair is pink. It's like a shadow root. And I was like, thank you. But I don't have to do a shadow root. Those are just my roots. The raspberry twist is a vegan color, but it doesn't change your hair color. So if you happen to have dark hair, it's not going to dye the dark hair. So basically, everything that's been previously lightened and my gray, or my silver as I like to call it, shows up, you know, with the bright raspberry twist pink, and everything that's, you know, black and brown is still black and brown after I dye it. So that's how this look was achieved. So basically, since I only light my roots every 4th time I color, basically there will be 2 inches of new growth by the time it's time to light my roots. Because my hair grows 1/2 inch a month, and basically, since I do my hair, light my roots every 4th time, that means 4 dyes have been done before I light my roots once. So that's about 4 months in between. That's 2 inches of growth, since my hair only grows 1/2 inch a month. Well, sometimes it grows faster, but mostly in the places it grows faster, it's just 1/2 inch a month. That's the average. The front of my hair seems to grow faster than the back of my hair, but I'm used to that. I've noticed some people, their hair grows fastest in the front and the back seems short, and then some people, their hair grows fast in the back and they struggle to get the front of their hair to match the back of it. So, yeah. Anyway, that's how my day's going. Moving on along. This angle is hard to do. Usually I sit on the edge of my bed with my feet hanging over and work on it that way. Right now I'm literally leaning forward on the very edge, so that way it fits in the camera. And that's having an effect on my back because this angle is starting to hurt it a little bit. But the last time I tried to show you the progress, you know, it was like, it was hard to see on the camera because, you know, this ring light only goes so far. So that's why I'm in this position. But whether I'm filming or not, usually I'm sitting over here, you know, with my feet hanging over, so that way, when I'm pulling, like, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but when I'm pulling a strand, I usually just go like this. So that way I can smooth it out or whatever without it, you know, tangling. But on the edge here, tangles are going to happen. Yeah. But I always do it at the end of my bed because these little strands of hair, you know, the dregs as I call them, they get everywhere. You know, like, that's just the shedding from doing this process. I have a little bag here that I put that in. But when I sit in the middle of my bed to do it, you know, those strands and those little dregs of, you know, hair end up over there by my pillow, which means you wake up and little strands of hair in your face. Hate that. But if I'm down here by the edge of my bed, then when I'm done, I put this here. I put my tool in this box here with the top on it, so that way I don't have to worry about, you know, rolling over and, you know, getting poked with my ventilation tool, because, yeah, that's happened. That's why I came up a box instead of that little Ziploc bag. And then I can stand up, sweep off the edge of the bed, sweep off my pajamas or my blue jeans or whatever I happen to be wearing. And then when I get into bed, I don't have to worry about little dregs of hair all over my bed getting in my way. And then I sweep the floor, and the broom I have literally catches any stray strand of hair, so that way I can deposit that directly into the garbage can, so that way everything's all nice and neat. Yep. No, that got more strands than the rest of it, but it's all good. Oh, this is a number 2 needle. The entire front was done for 1. But since this is spaced out further, even though I'm doing single knots, I'm still grabbing 1 or 2 or 3 strands of hair. So that way I can go faster. I very rarely use the number 3 needle to pick up 3 strands of hair, because the way I do it, I'll end up with 6 strands. Because I do have the ability to scoop more than the needle is supposed to hold. Well, don't do it. Come on. There we go. We'll save that from being a split knot. Yeah. And yes, I know my technique is different from most folks. But as long as it gets the same goal accomplished, let me do it my way, you know. Besides, this way allows me to work faster. I mean, if I did it this way, the way most people do, not only does that take me longer, but it kind of interrupts my flow, because I'm kind of doing a freestyle thing where I just let whatever section that wants to get grabbed when I stab the hook or the ventilation tool into the net and lift it up. When I go like that, it just drags the section, and then boom. It allows me to go faster. Now, when I'm doing single space, single knots in the front, then yeah, I have to do it that way, which is why it took me so long. But in the back, basically, I'm just being random, as you can tell. And it still comes out nice. It's just that the hair is further spaced out, but no one's going to see that. You see what I'm saying? And then instead of pressing down each individual strand as I do it, I just wait till I got enough and just kind of, because it accomplishes the same goal. It presses those strands down, just like when I pull each individual strand. And then when I brush it, it also tightens those knots. So yeah. Like I said, I know some people that could do a full lace wig in 10 days. I am not one of those people. But I am not slacking either. I can keep up. I just keep up at my own pace. You know, I am never going to sit down and ventilate for a full 8-hour day, you know, or 10 hours or whatever for 10 straight days. That's just never going to happen. You know, this is a hobby. This is not my job. So if the grandbaby needs me, or my daughter needs me, or I just want to go hang out with my friends or whatever, that's what I do. And then when I come home, when I just feel like relaxing or when I just feel like ventilating, that's also what I do. Yep. That's going to need to be brushed. So, yeah. Yeah, I knew they had a tangle in it. Now, this usually gets rid of the tangles, you know, that occur every so often because of synthetic hair. It'll tangle if you look at it too hard. But when it's too bad, I just literally take my scissors and snip off whatever, you know, knot is presenting. But nope, didn't need to grab the scissors that time. There we go. So thank you for coming along to see the process of the full lace wig. Give it 1 to 2 weeks and I'll be finished with the entire thing, and then I'll be cutting it, styling it, wearing it, all that good stuff. That's another reason why I like synthetic hair. When you buy human hair, you literally have to buy the bundles by the length you want. So the longer the hair is, the more it costs, and the more bundles you have to buy, because the hair is basically sold by weight, and the longer the hair is, the less you have in the bundle, you know. So you end up, you know, like if you had 10 inches of hair and you were looking for a total weight of 112 grams or whatever, you would end up with about 6 bundles of hair. But if the hair was 20 inches, well, no, if you had 10 inches of hair and you were, you know, going by the bundles for at like 112 grams, you would end up with like 6 or 7 bundles of hair. But if the hair was 20 inches, you would end up with 3 bundles, because the hair is more in length than it is in width. So you end up buying more bundles because you're getting less width, but more length, if that makes sense. I know what I mean, but I don't think I explained it properly. And yeah, that happens when you happen to be me, because the aphasia and the way my brain processes thoughts after the stroke, when I try to explain stuff, it doesn't always make sense. Even when I play the video back, I might go, huh? Because, yeah, it's like my brain processes things in a latent manner instead of boom, 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 you know. But I outlived my prognosis and I'm still here, so I don't complain about that. Yep. And it looks like it's time to recoat this canvas blockhead. I coated it with Eileen's tacky glue, so I could put a needle through it all day long. But when I ventilate, I don't have to put paper or plastic under it because it's firm, so that way I can still pick up the lace. Because at first I had plastic on it and that was sealed down, but you know, every now and then you look up and your needles were dull from glancing against the plastic all the time. But if you didn't have it down, it was just a cloth, then you looked up and you go to take the wig off the canvas block and you had to literally take scissors and trim it away from the lace because the little pieces of the canvas, the knit from the canvas block would get snagged on it. That was annoying. So basically I just sat down one day and said, hey, how can I fix this situation? And that's when I said, oh, I'll coat it with something. My first thought was to coat it with fray check, and that turned out to be a problematic idea because fray check is very expensive. So then I thought Mod Podge, and the bottle of Mod Podge I had. Oh, by the way, if you have Mod Podge and it's over a year old, you might want to double check the integrity of your container or put it in a different container, because the plastic that they put Mod Podge in is biodegradable, and you look up and you go to open the top and you see this little split at the bottom and the entire bottom literally disintegrates, and that's a mess to clean up. Ask me how I know. But anyway, the Mod Podge had did that nonsense, but apparently where it split, it had opened just enough for air to get to it. So it was a mess, but it sealed itself up in a manner where it wasn't a puddle. It was just this much, and then where it, you know, settled, it kind of, you know, set and hardened up and everything. So first I had to clean up the mess. Then I had to scrape it up off of my floor. And there's still a spot in there that, you know, there's this big lump that, I mean, and since it's a glue, it's literally permanently there. So I'm either going to have to use some acetone or thinner or something to get it up. But first I have to talk with my landlord and explain the situation, because, you know, I don't want to ruin the finish of the floor. And if he say don't worry about it, well, of course, you know, I don't have to say anything because he doesn't know about it. But if he says, you know, well, you know, we can't ruin the finish of the floor, then they'll just stay there, since it's a little teeny spot about that big. But I don't want to ruin the finish because these are new apartments or whatever, because then they might want to make you pay for that. Like, you ruined this section of the tile. Yeah. Nope. yeah. But anyway, that tube of Mod Podge was ruined, so I looked around the house because, you know, it was either that or go out in the weather, and it was like 20 degrees that day, and I wasn't trying to leave the house. And I went, oh, I have an entire bottle of Eileen's tacky glue that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I basically put it on the 24-inch canvas block first to see if that would work, which it did. So then I put it on the 22 here, and that worked out well enough that if I ever get another blackhead, or if I maintain this blackhead, that's what I'm going to use to do it. You know, it took like 24, well actually less than 24 hours to dry, but I gave it a full 24 hours because, you know, cloth and whatever the stuff that's in the canvas blockhead, I didn't want to, you know, put a lace cap on it and then, oh, it's stuck because there's, you know, wet glue there. So, yeah. So, yeah. That's how I came up with that idea. But like I was saying, synthetic hair is really long. So basically, this is almost 40 inches. You know, if I put it on my head, it would come down to here. So that way I don't have to go, oh, it's this length, but I wanted that length, or, you know, I needed to subtract 2 from whatever the final inches I want. Like if I want a 14-inch wig and I'm using human hair, then I need to get 16-inch hair because the returns are going to be 2 inches. Well, with this being synthetic hair, specifically this is hair for crochet braids, which is why the roots are in the middle of it, you know. So basically it's almost like it's light here, dark here, light here, ombre effect, because you're using it in a folded over manner. And you know, that still is longer than, you know, any human hair I could buy. So then after I'm done, I just literally, you know, I either cut it while it's on the block or I put it on and then trim it. So that way it could be whatever length I want. But general rule of thumb, in case you ever get a canvas block and decide to, you know, give that a try, when you put the wig on the canvas block, or make a wig on canvas block, and you arrange your, or place your lace cap on it. You know, I even drew a picture where my nose and everything goes in reference to where it will actually place on my human head on the block. The base of the canvas block would be where your chin would be. So if you want to, or, you know, well, no, that would be the chin. This would be like the shoulder. So just basically saying your chin or your clavicle bone, shoulder area will be right at the end of the block. So say for instance you just wanted a wig that was 10 inches or whatever, that's a good way to measure it without having to actually take out a tape measure or whatever, you know. And I can't remember who told me that, but that was life-changing, because otherwise you had to take out a tape measure and go, okay, I want this long, blah, blah, blah. And if you was working on something in sections, you would have to put it back on and, you know, then measure and so forth and so on, when you could just go, oh, it's the base of the, you know. So if this is the base of my, right here would be like right here, then basically you can just like, this whole length will be like where my waist is. So if I fold it in half, you can see that's halfway, that's literally at the halfway mark. So I would cut it right here if I wanted to just hang right at my shoulders. You see what I'm saying? But yeah. That's pretty good progress for 30 minutes, wouldn't you say? But my hands are cramping, so I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to put my little bangs thing back here to keep the hair out the way. And this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My soaps are located at PurpleButterfly-Soaps.myshopify.com. My blog is located at PurpleButterfly-People.blogspot.com. And People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. Please don't forget to rate, comment, well, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I keep saying rate, and then when I'm on the site that says rate, I say like, and it's like, bleh. But you know, I have aphasia, so I lose words all the time. But just like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all stay blessed, stay tuned. Bye now.